Show you in this video a couple things you might have to consider replacing if you have bad fuel economy or less mile per gallon on your car. I'm gonna talk more in details inside when I go back into the shop, but usually you have to check the air filter, make sure the air filter is clean, and under this cover there is spark plugs and also ignition wires. Those can affect the fuel economy. Also the oxygen sensor, will affect big time the fuel economy. You might not get check engine light, but the efficiency of it is not that good. It will give the computer or the ECM the wrong reading, or mislead the computer very much with the reading that it tells the computer either it has high oxygen or low oxygen, and that based on that it will decide how much fuel to throw into that engine. Of course, oil change, it affects all these little things you have to keep in check all the time. Spark plugs again. I'm gonna go inside the shop and show you these parts in details. You have to make sure your spark plugs replaced based on the manufacturer intervals, and make sure you use the exact brand or the exact quality that they ask for. If it's iridium, use iridium. If it's platinum, use platinum. Of course, iridium is much better. You know, those usually they are carbon resistance. They don't build carbon on them. The ignition wires, also, if they have high resistance in them, they're not gonna deliver the exact amount of voltage the spark plugs to fire. So that will cause unburned fuel, and the computer will sense that through the oxygen sensor and will very much affect your fuel economy or mile per gallon. Spark plugs, like I said, they vary in shapes and brand and quality. I will stay in mid-range. Of course, the more expensive the better, but you don't have to kill your budget. Okay, so whatever the car requires, just use whatever they require. Oxygen sensor, it is very, very important in this fuel economy issue. If the oxygen sensor is bad, it's not necessarily you're gonna get a check engine light. You might get it after maybe 10,000 miles, 5,000 miles, but that will also affect your economy, if the fuel economy. If there's a lot of carbon built up on this, usually it doesn't give the exact reading. It might still read, but not exact reading. So the oxygen sense, when the sensor senses the oxygen, it doesn't sense it accurately. Okay, ignition coil, it could be a problem too, and it might give you a misfire or might give random misfire. These coils, they come one piece. There is no wires here, it's just only one piece, the coil and very much the wire. And some of them, they come just the coil one piece and the wire just connect to it, just a little piece of wire like this, very much this size, without that wire, not included. So the coil goes on the top of it like this. Okay, this Audi, it comes one piece. You cannot buy it separate. You have to buy it complete. So that's as far as this. Air filter is very important, number one. And the mass airflow sensor. If the mass airflow sensor gets dirty, it will give the wrong amount of air coming into the engine to the computer. It will have the wrong information. So this measures how much air goes into the engine. And if your filter is dirty and start to get ripped and dirt start to go, this thing will catch it. This element gets hot sometimes and will catch it here and will probably block this element and will start to give the wrong reading, and the car might stumble or shakes or doesn't have power. Usually it doesn't get overnight, it takes time to do that. And there is a special cleaner for this. They sell it in Autobots called Mass Airflow Sensor Cleaner or MAF Cleaner. You could spray on it when it's cold and get rid of that, and you could clean it with a Q-tip. if you could, probably you could notice it if it has any dirt on it, especially dust. That's why they have these screens on them, to protect it as much as can. And sometimes that screen itself gets clogged up. You can see sometimes you see bugs here, you see flies. I've seen a lot of stuff. You can see there's a small bug here on it, stuck to it right there. And you can see probably like a spider web will probably start to build up here from sitting. So that's something you have to be taken in consideration. That will also affect the fuel economy. As fuel injectors, if there is one clogged or two clogged fuel injectors, of course you have misfire on that particular cylinder where this is clogged. But when the fuel injector clogged, the computer is going to know that, and it's going to start to increase that time for that injector when it's open up. Will give it more time, so they're trying to throw more fuel in, and that will cause a lot of problem on that particular cylinder. So that will probably start to dump more gas and affect other injectors in the meantime. I don't want to get into details, but just generally speaking, the fuel injectors also, it could cause a fuel economy issue, but that's up to the technician or mechanic who check the car. They will know when they hook a scanner to the car. They're gonna know what's going on here. They're gonna know which injector is not doing what it's supposed to do. But for an average car owner, wires, it's not hard to change, or it's not hard to understand. Ignition coil, sometimes they come like this, like a coil back, one piece, like this is Ford. So it's one piece like this, or they come in a distributor cap like an older one, old cars like this. Distributor cap also, like I said, since I just mentioned it here, there is carbon buildup here on this area here. That will cause a spark issue, and will not deliver enough spark to the coil, to the spark plug. And also the distributor rotor. You can see this is how this is burned versus this is new. So that could cause a problem in the fuel economy. They no longer make this. This is only in old cars, so probably not gonna see this now, unless you have an old car. Mostly either coil back, and this becomes an older school now. Most of the cars now, they come like this, what it looks like. BCV valve, a bigger problem too. If this is a brakes, it's gonna suck oil into the engine, specifically into the intake manifold, and it's gonna go back into the combustion chamber. So if it suck oil, it's gonna dairy the spark plugs. It's gonna get oily spark plugs, and you're gonna have all these kind of issues. And you don't wanna have just a small BCV valve, positive crankcase ventilation, to cause all this issue. It has a spring in it, and it sucks air in one way, usually vacuum. So it's vacuum one way. When you blow in it the other way, it's not supposed to. You're not supposed to hear air coming out from this side. It's only one way valve. So that comes, like I said, in different shapes, and like here's this one too. Those all BCV valve. This can cause a lot of problem. I know a lot of people when they do tune-up, they're barely changing this. I recommend to change the BCV valve with any tune-up you do. Always change BCV valve. It's really recommended. Also that it help if it's bad, and you put a new one, it's gonna help you keep your oil at check and level all the time, especially if this is bad. Air filter we spoke about. I'm gonna get into more details about this stuff here, about the engine, fuel injector, spark plugs, air filter, tire pressure, wheel alignment, aerodynamic, transmission, exhaust system, and weight of the vehicle. All these stuff can affect your fuel economy. Okay, so always make sure you get regular maintenance, and the driving habits, if it changes, usually it affects fuel economy. So let's just get into a little in depth in these. I'll explain to you what all this stuff means. So I'm gonna go quickly through all of this. When we talk about the engine condition and efficiency play a significant role in the fuel economy. So we'll maintain the engine with a clean filter and a properly functioning components tends to consume fuel more efficiently. So piston rings, pistons, camshafts, camshaft cams, camshaft gears, especially with the variable timing. If they have variable timing, usually it will have if the variable timing gears they go bad, or the spring tension it goes bad, is gonna have timing issue, and the car might still drive, but it's gonna have issue with the fuel, because the computer right away is gonna understand all this and start to compensate for fuel or for air. So also the valve, the variable timing, the VVT solenoid, the variable timing solenoid, those solenoids also has some effect on the fuel economy. So that's will affect timing chain, and if the timing chain also gets expanded or loose, is gonna cause all kind of issue. This is as far as the engine. So all the fuel injectors, if so dairy or a clogged fuel injector can lead to inefficient fuel delivery. So that will result into decrease in the fuel economy. So just make sure you have good gas in the car. Okay, so clogged up the fuel injector will cause also the car to burn more gas. Spark plugs, war or dairy spark plug like explained before. The spark plugs, if it's dairy, it's a bigger problem. Okay, it will cause incomplete combustion. It will not burn the fuel as it's supposed to. Okay, so that will affect your fuel economy. So make sure you replace the. So if you replace the spark plugs, make sure you replace the ignition wires too with it. Complete ignition wire and a spark plug together. The coil you don't have to change unless it's bad. Usually you're gonna feel it. The car will have hesitation, bad hesitation, and you're gonna get codes. One of those codes, 300 code or 301 or 303, depends on the cylinder. So that's as far as the spark plugs. Like I said, ignition wires and distributor cap. I just explained distributor rotor and the O2 sensor. O2 sensor, they're very much like the O2 sensor is like the spark plug. Okay, they get dairy and they have carbon buildup on them. Sometimes water on them, rust. You name it, all kind of stuff. So you can see the different. This will cause the sensor to send inaccurate signal of how much oxygen inside the exhaust system. So this is as far as the oxygen sensor. And again, the BCV valve you should replace with any tune-up you do. Air filter. Clean air filter allows for a better airflow to the engine. Okay, so if you have a dairy or bad air filter, please change it. Okay, that goes also with the tune-up. All right, and tire pressure. Talking about tire pressure. Tire pressure. So underinflated tires increase rolling resistance. So that's require more fuel to maintain speed. All right, so always make sure you check your tire pressure all the time. And if you have non-stock tires like white tires, this will cause the car to burn more gas. Okay, because there's a lot of drag. So that's as far as tire pressure. Make sure you check tire pressure. Wheel alignment. So wheel alignment, misaligned wheels can cause uneven tire wear, and that will increase rolling resistance, same thing, negatively impacting the fuel economy. So make sure also the wheel alignment also always right, and probably you can feel it when you have bad wheel alignment. You're gonna feel it in the steering wheel. Okay. Aerodynamic. So vehicle usually designed. Vehicle design and aerodynamic also play a role in the fuel economy. So like let's say you have a roof rack or spoilers, or you always have open windows. This is can increase your drag. When you increase your drag, you will decrease fuel efficiency. So aerodynamic, or you have weights, always unnecessary weight inside the vehicle. Like you have junk in the trunk, or you have like tools and always carrying heavy stuff. This will cause is gonna cause like increased rolling. Sorry, it will very much create more drag. Okay, so the vehicle, in other words, it's gonna have a resistance as you drive. Okay, like when you open the window. When you open the window, you're gonna have more wind coming inside the car, so that will cause also a fuel efficiency problem. All right, transmission. The type and condition of a transmission can affect the fuel economy. Usually, manual transmission generally better fuel has better fuel efficiency than automatic. Now they have CVT. They say it's gonna be better fuel economy. I'm not sure about that, but I guess that's what they say. So if you have a bad transmission or bad transmission filter, or a transmission is not working properly, trying to fight with the engine, trying to fight with the wheels and the differential and the drive shaft, that could cause also a fuel economy issue. Exhaust system. So anything with the exhaust system, like including the catalytic converter, oxygen sensor, like I just said, can affect fuel economy. So make sure these all in check to get optimal fuel economy. Going back to weight, this is similar to aerodynamic. All right. So carrying unnecessary weight in the vehicle, like cargo or unused items, tools, or whatever you have in the trunk, if you have heavy stuff all the time, that will increase fuel consumption. All right. So if you want to have better fuel economy, you probably change, empty your trunk from the extra stuff in it. Okay. So again, remember the ECU in charge of your car is gonna decide through various sensor, oxygen sensor and all the other sensor around it, mass airflow sensor, is gonna tell the computer how much air and how much gas coming into this engine, and it will decide how much gas is gonna throw into this engine to keep you going. So this is very much it. So make sure you have these in check, and make sure, like I said, change the wires, spark plugs, BCV valve, ignition coils if needed, spark plugs. Those are very much the common thing. Air filter. Okay, those are the common thing you need to change. And that's very much it. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope I deliver as much as I can in this few moments to tell you what you need to do to improve your fuel economy. Thank you for watching.